This is Free Talk Live. And you can join us here toll free. We'll give you the numbers and the Skype username in moments. And things are going to be a little bit different here tonight. In the studio, Ian here with you, but two special guest co-hosts this evening coming in all the way over from Manchester, New Hampshire. One of whom our longtime listeners will be very familiar with, JJ.
Thank you. Good to be on the show.
Welcome back, JJ. Now, are you going by JJ Epic or JJ?
Well, I'm yes. So the whole reason I selected Epic back in the day, long story short, is that I wanted to keep my family out of it. My dad and I have the same name, and so if I was to be in the press, blah, 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 it'd be his name bandied about as well as mine, right?
You're a junior.
I'm a junior,
Okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
So J, the second J is junior.
Right.
And so that's partially why I did it, and I'm also Epic, so I figured that was cool. But now, yeah, I'll be going with JJ Epic in like quotations, like an alias, and then Schlesinger.
Okay.
So Schlesinger's, yeah, I'll be going back to that.
All right, excellent. So JJ Schlesinger is with us here tonight, former regular co-host here on Free Talk Live. He's been out in the Manchester area now for 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, geez, like 4 almost.
Has it been that long?
It's been a long
way.
time.
There's no way it's been
Yes.
4 years.
Yeah, since the last campaign.
So, really?
Yeah, since the last. Remember when Ron Paul was running, I was in
You went
Manchester.
out there? Huh, I'll be damned.
And I
Time
did a
flies.
Gary Johnson zombie video. Remember that?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
So
that must have been when you just moved out there.
Yep.
Yeah. So also joining us here tonight, Randy Clemens is with us, the Sriracha guy.
That's what I've been called, yeah.
Is that what you prefer to go by, or is that like something you want to leave behind?
Randy's good.
Okay.
I mean, you can call me Sriracha guy. I answer to it. That's fine. I don't take any offense. But Randy's good.
You are someone who kind of made the name Sriracha guy in some level of media attention, right? You wrote the book about how to cook with Sriracha, 2 books.
Yes, I wrote the Sriracha Cookbook and the Veggie Lovers Sriracha Cookbook. I've definitely been called, the Boston Globe called me the Sriracha King, which was pretty cool.
That's even better than the Sriracha guy.
It is.
Yeah, but it seemed, when I got here to New Hampshire, when I moved for the Free State Project, it seemed like that was just the name I sort of adopted. Everyone would kind of look at me like, oh, Sriracha guy. And so, it's happily stuck. I don't mind one bit.
And truth be told, there are numerous bottles of Sriracha around his living quarters.
It's
area.
real. Like, it's not some sort of fake thing that he's putting on people. He
No.
really is that into
I walk the
Sriracha.
walk, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he even has recipes. Obviously, if you go to his website, he's got recipes. But there was an interesting one he recently put up, which was the cookies.
Sriracha cookies?
Yeah, I made some Sriracha peanut butter cannabis cookies and put those up online. And I'm trying to sort of, explore that platform.
The cannabis platform?
Well, yes, but, the Sriracha platform, I realize there's a great deal of people who love Sriracha that are probably also college students, stoners, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, really kind of trying to make a voice, even with my own small platforms here, of why it matters, why marijuana legalization matters, and why it's important for us to have these rights. And so even if I can reach people through food, because that's sort of how I became more and more aware of individual liberties was through food. When I heard that I couldn't drink raw milk from a cow, or when I couldn't get foods in their natural states, almonds that hadn't been pasteurized, things like that, it made me start questioning, how free actually am I?
That's what brought you into the Liberty Movement, was the restrictions on food stuff?
I wouldn't say that specifically. Definitely played a big part in it. It got me asking a lot more questions.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of introduced the idea of libertarianism when I was 13. We were supposed to do a class report on a political party, and every single student in that class did something on Democratic or the Republican Party. I had actually, I'm going to age myself a little. I actually went through the phone book and got all the political parties and called them all and had them all send me information to read. And the American Nazi Party, their number was discontinued or disconnected, but I called. I was trying to really to get the most full picture I could of what everyone stood for. And the Libertarian Party really just made the most amount of sense to me. And so I kind of got involved that way. Harry Brown was running for president then, and really, really liked his platform. And
you're a Harry Brown libertarian like I am then.
Yeah, I was a big fan.
He definitely brought me into this back in, for me it was the year 2000 was his campaign at that time. I was around 18 at that time. Was it his year 2000 campaign that roped you in?
Yeah, definitely. I was 16 at the time, so yeah, very interested.
So you discovered the ideas, but it didn't really start to stick with you until you found out the restrictions on food?
Well, I think that's just what sort of opened it up a little more and made it more personal for me, and really wanting to have an understanding of why these restrictions were in place and who on earth gave them, the rights or the perceived rights to tell me I couldn't even do these things, or not even make up my own mind about them, but to completely sweep them under the rug and to give me no choice to make up my own mind. That to me was what became the most infuriating. And then to see years later there was a co-op in Los Angeles called Rawsome that was pretty famously raided by some federal agents, and the Colbert
Yes, I remember that one.
Picked it up. Yeah, they were selling raw
Rawsome
milk.
Foods, right?
Yeah, and so that's where I went. It was an awesome place. They had raw cow's milk, goat's milk, and camel milk. They had all sorts of neat stuff, but you could get.
And it was like an armed federal goon squad kind of raid.
Absolutely, total mess. And it was just people who were operating a members-only club.
Yep.
Everybody had signed a waiver, saying they knew exactly what they were buying and that they were making this choice consciously, not just to defy law, but to actually better provide for themselves. And yeah, armed guards came in and raided all kinds of stuff. The video of it, you can just hear. I believe it was the Colbert Report, and you can hear laughter in the crowd. It's not very funny, but the overreaction of the government is. What can you do but laugh?
Meaning the laughter was coming from the audience in the Colbert Report.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
It wasn't people standing there laughing as they were getting raided.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so one bit. I can't imagine that's a pleasant experience.
What happened with Rawsome Foods? Did you ever follow up on that? Because I feel like I saw some kind of headline about down the line the court case or whatever it is that came out of that. Do you happen to know just offhand?
I don't, sadly.
Did they shut down? Did the store close?
Oh yes, this was probably 2010 if I remember right. But they did close. They'd been there for some time. I wish I remembered exact details, but they'd managed to. Keep the pirates at bay for long enough, but they finally did get in, and I know the business shut down. There were some allegations of mislabeling of products, and that was some of the, I don't know if it was true or not or just slanderous, but some of the products they were saying they got were actually just repackaged Costco eggs, and so I don't know how much of that was propaganda to add to it, but it was definitely a sad thing, and again, it got me questioning why. What's the big drive here to shut these networks down?
So
people who
that
care.
raid specifically was one of the first kind of real flashpoints for you, would you say?
Sure. Yeah, I think that was a big one. That because raw milk, I worked on a dairy farm after culinary school and really got to try raw milk and see how good it made me personally feel and how much more I just enjoyed the taste.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing that almonds, I wanted to find out why you couldn't buy raw almonds. They have to be pasteurized, and they can either be steam pasteurized or put in some kind of chemical bath, but they can still be labeled as raw, and I wanted to know why this was. And it turned out that it was actually this spineless industry group, the Almond Board of California, that there was a huge salmonella or E. coli breakout years ago, and it contaminated like 2 million pounds of almonds that they had to, or potentially contaminated, that they had to recall. And so they actually worked with government to create this new law that required this pasteurization of almonds, but you could still label them as raw because it just heats the outside. It doesn't actually heat the inside of them. But all this crap that needs to circle around this, and now you have to question, well, do I actually want to buy almonds that are grown in my backyard when I lived in California? Do I want to buy almonds from California, or do I want to have them imported from Spain or Turkey or somewhere like that, where they don't have these draconian restrictions? And luckily there was
only the Californian almonds needed to be pasteurized?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, and this was literally because someone didn't wash their hands. That's
right. It makes sense.
So, it becomes this added step, and what that ultimately does is it puts a burden on smaller producers.
Sure, of course.
And so,
put them out of business.
Yeah, they aren't able to buy this equipment or have their nuts shipped to someone else to have this taken care of. It just all it does is add cost. It doesn't really actually add consumer protection.
Mm-hmm.
And so instances like that absolutely just began to infuriate me more and more and got me to ask the question again of why is this actually protecting me? And I don't think it is.
We're going to continue here. The toll-free numbers are, as always, open. You can bring up anything you want. 855-450-FREE. That's the number. You can also join us via Skype. Skype username's LRN.FM. The Sriracha guy, Randy Clemens, is here with us, kind of talking about his path to freedom. And former co-host JJ co-hosting with me. Ian, this is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait.
Call 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. If you want to play online poker with Bitcoin, you need a site that's trustworthy and technically sound. The site managers of swcpoker.eu have proven their commitment to bringing you great gameplay from a site you can trust, swcpoker.eu. They have lots of new games too, including Chinese poker, and their Krill leaderboard is open right now. It's a beautiful site, easy to use with lots of players. Go on over to swcpoker.eu now and have some fun with your Bitcoin. swcpoker.eu.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. JJ and Randy joining me, Ian, tonight here. They're over from Manchester, joining me here in the Keene studios. They're actually launching a new website, or have launched a new website called fspmovers.com, and I definitely want to talk more about that. Because they're doing some cool media stuff over there. But FSP being short for Free State Project, which is the reason why the three of us are here together and that we even know each other in the first place.
That's right.
So we'll talk more about that. Also, want to let you know about how to protect yourself online. If you're getting online and you're not taking steps to protect yourself, well, then you might as well just be an open book, because you can't expect anyone else to do it for you. You've got to take steps, and one of those steps is ProXPN.
It is a virtual private network, and they encrypt your data from your computer or mobile device. They offer OpenVPN, which is the gold standard of network encryption. They've got apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and there's Linux support as well. Unlike other VPNs, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. With more servers being added all the time, ProXPN is working hard to give you greater speed and security compared to other VPNs. And if you're a Windows user, ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They accept credit card and Bitcoin. And if you use code FTL50, you'll get 50% off of the regular monthly price for the lifetime of your annual account. It can be cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. Go to proxpn.com right now and use code FTL50 to take back the privacy that is your right. So, JJ, you are back on the air here. It's always great to have you behind a mic.
Awesome.
On Free Talk Live. You and I have a long history going back.
That's right.
Started your activism career here in Keene, New Hampshire as an early mover for the Free State Project back in 2008?
2007, December 3rd, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, you started blogging in 2008 for Free Keene. And you actually just, for our listeners that don't know this, you were the creator of the Free State Project's new Edward Snowden video.
That's right.
Looks fantastic.
Thank you.
As you promised that it would. And that video is up right now. People can see it over at freekeene.com. But let's talk more about Randy Clemens, because honestly, I don't know him very much. We've had a few interactions at a couple of different events here and there, interacting briefly at parties and things like that. But Randy, you moved here, about a year? Not quite a year ago?
April 1st, 2015.
So about 9 months, coming up on 9 months.
Coming up on 11.
11 months,
yeah.
Actually. And you're about to celebrate your first year here in New Hampshire. You moved out from California, the Los Angeles area?
Right, correct.
Were you born and raised in that?
Born and raised. I lived in San Diego for 2 years, and I did a winter in New Jersey, but other than that, all Los Angeles.
So you must be crazy to move from California to a cold place like this, right? People must be shocked by this decision of yours.
I've been called crazy for many other things before, so
this is nothing new.
It's been lost. The term has been lost on me at this point, but it basically came down to no longer finding a motivation and an inspiration in Los Angeles, and feeling as though my thoughts, my ideas about individual responsibility and community just weren't quite being echoed. And so I was looking for a better quality of life. I made a list, sort of independent of geography, of things I was looking for in a place where I would want to live. And at the end of making this list, I just kind of had this flicker of remembrance that I'd read something about the Free State Project before, not remembering its name at all, but looking online, I just found all the information and started looking then in New Hampshire, starting from there, and couldn't believe how much Manchester just kind of lined up with what I was looking for, as far as just much lower cost of living, much more access to nature and seasons. I mean, yes, it's a little cold. This has been a pretty mild winter, is my understanding. Everyone keeps yelling at me that I have no idea how lucky I am that it's this mild this year.
I'll give it time.
Yeah. But regardless, I didn't like feeling divorced from seasons. I like that there's an ebb and flow, and that summer you race to get that last bit of heat and that last bit of sunshine and to make everything of it. And then winter, you've got to plan ahead a little bit. It's not just a rat race all the time. You're not just go. There's time to reflect. There's time to slow down. There's time to prepare your house. It just keeps you a little bit more on your toes, and I like that. I think that little bit of challenge and that little bit of working within an ever-shifting environment is very, very healthy for the human mind. And
that's just the environment that you're talking about, right? And I agree, having come from Florida, where I spent 26 years of my life, where basically it's hot all year round and then slightly less hot for like a couple months. That's pretty much what Florida is.
And hurricanes.
And lots of hurricanes, yeah. And we don't tend to get the hurricanes up this way. In fact, the weather, all things considered, doesn't really have too much in the way of like super dangerous weather. I mean, yeah, you could freeze to death. I mean, that certainly could happen. But for the most part, like the blizzards and the supposedly bad weather that happens up here seems to pale in comparison to a hurricane or tornado or like an earthquake or something like that. And
earthquakes, yes, I remember them, not fondly.
I've never been through one. We didn't have that problem.
They're
in
pretty
Florida.
terrifying.
Yeah,
I
bet.
definitely was in the 94 Northridge earthquake in L.A. I was 9 years old or 10 at the time, and not a very fun experience. I mean, the nice thing that came out of it was that you did have to rely on you did get to rely on your neighbors, and you had to find your community that way when the power went out, and
right when everyone's almost dying, you finally meet your neighbors.
Right, exactly. And you found out very quickly, how unprepared most people were for something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I don't find too many people here that are, unprepared for the elements. It's something that you think about and not worry about, but just be prepared for. And I think that little bit of mental preparation is lost in a lot of places. So.
It is the Granite State, and the people here do tend to be a little flinty. They're a little tougher, I think, than the average folks just pretty much anywhere else. Now, of course, I'm obviously super grateful for the people that take the time to plow the roads and do all the real hard work for city dwellers.
Right.
So thank goodness for those guys.
Deliver the oil.
The plow guys and the oil delivery men. But things could be a lot worse, and so you're just focusing on some of the kind of the cool things about the environment here, but then add to that the community, right? The liberty scene, the activism that's happening here that's really unsurpassed. You can't find that anywhere else.
Yeah, that has been the most overwhelming aspect of my move. Just how many people really come together to create something that's greater than any one of them could together. And there's a pretty good focus on decentralization and empowering people. Some of the most inspiring projects I've come across, one is the Community Market Day project, which has sprouted up here. It's basically an agris marketplace.
This thing's really taken off in the last year, right?
Yes, it's getting very popular. It's kind of outgrown a few different spaces. And what it is, it's an agris marketplace that meets twice a month in Manchester, but it's actually getting branches started up now in Keene, Concord, Laconia, and all the way out in Portsmouth as well, and hopefully more areas. But basically, it's something that meets in Manchester twice a month. These other areas are going to be just starting up maybe once a month or twice a month, but they're decentralized, so the people who are organizing these things can set those independently.
Agorist meaning people are selling things without government permission.
Correct.
Right?
They're just bringing something that they made or something that they grew, and they're trading it, exchanging it, selling it. It's all voluntary, and it's all donation-based.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Whether you've got questions about, what it might be like to make the move to New Hampshire or whatever happens to be on your mind, you can take control of the airwaves, and this is Free Talk Live.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, Katie Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to katiearmor.com. Come and take it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here if you want. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can also join us online at freetalklive.com. And if you want to get 101 reasons why liberty lives in New Hampshire, maybe you're making one of those lists like Randy was making, comparing where you are now to where you might want to be. And maybe there's some reasons why you'd want to move here. Well, there's 101 of them over at 101reasonsfilm.com. You can watch this excellent hour-long documentary film that I think has persuaded a lot of people to consider moving to New Hampshire because it is a pretty amazing place to be already. If you really love the ideas of freedom, you could argue that New Hampshire is already the freest place in the world, and certainly with thousands of liberty-minded people coming here over time, as there will be thanks to the Free State Project, then it's only going to get more free. At least that's the plan. So go to 101reasonsfilm.com to learn more about that. The movie's free. You can watch it online anytime you want. 101reasonsfilm.com. Ian, Randy, and JJ are in the studio here tonight. We're going to continue. We'll go a little deeper into Randy's story, how he ended up in the studio here with us, ended up in New Hampshire, etc. But first, let's go to the phones, to the fun. Chris is in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello there, Chris.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, I just wanted to bring up, I know it's a little off topic, but I just wanted to bring up the Trump win last night and potential flaw in his campaign, even though he's got all this momentum going.
Okay. Trump, it was a pretty solid win last night in Nevada, isn't that right?
Sure was. He won by over 20 points.
Wow. Okay. So what's the flaw? If he's cleaning up the floor here with these other candidates, where's the flaw?
Well, I was talking with my uncle, who's a pretty wealthy man, big time Trump supporter. He was telling me about, giving me an angle a couple months ago, and he was still hammering pretty hard. I visited him up in Grand Rapids last weekend. I live in South Bend, Indiana. But anyway, he was just stressing the point. Eventually, these Democrats, I think they're holding in their back pocket that they're going to accuse him of buying the election. And because when you compare his donations from, like, the quarterly donations from last quarter, at the end of the year of 2015. It was only about $3 to $4 million. And people need to understand that if they want this guy to get elected, they're going to have to. I mean, I donated $100, and I just have like a middle, $50,000 a year or whatever. So it's like.
Well, I thought Trump doesn't want donations.
But that's the problem, Ian. That's exactly what I'm telling you about the flaw in his campaign. The Democrats, I think, are holding in their back pocket that, oh, look at how much money that Bernie Sanders has raised, $27 on average from private donors, no PACs. And I understand Trump just needs to start asking for money, but
Why?
I know that
Why? I mean, look,
the angle.
I don't understand. First of all, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a supporter of any of these Republican or Democrat candidates. I just want to get that out of the way, make sure that's crystal clear here. But given that Donald Trump can self-fund his entire campaign as a billionaire, why would he care about collecting donations from people?
Well, that's the card that they're going to play, though, is like, oh, you're just buying the election. Nobody really supports you. You're just buying.
Well, I don't think that's going to fly because he's getting votes, right? So it's pretty clear that people support him, given the fact that people are showing up at primaries and caucuses, and they are caucusi. Anyway, they are showing up and they're voting for him in droves. So why does it matter if people are giving him money when they're showing up and voting? Ultimately, that's all that matters, is whether or not he can take a victory at the polls, not whether or not he raises more money.
But if people are unwilling to give money, because that's what a traditional campaign does, is you raise money from the people.
Right.
And if
His isn't a traditional campaign.
No.
I don't know if you've noticed that. I mean, Donald Trump is going at things. I mean, to his credit, and, there's not a lot that I can say that's good about Donald Trump, but to his credit, he's made a mark for himself because he's supposed to be this anti-establishment character. Now, I don't believe it for a moment that he's anti-establishment. I mean, you don't get to be, Donald Trump and make billion-dollar deals or whatever with people and not be part of the establishment. So I don't think for a moment that this successful businessman who obviously has connections in politics already is some sort of anti-establishment character. But that's the role that he has sort of painted for himself in the election, and part of him painting that for himself has been, hey, I don't need your donations. I don't want to be beholden to the special interests. I don't need their money, so I can say what I want, I can act how I want, and if people don't want to donate to me, that doesn't matter to me because I can run this thing myself.
Right. I think that actually makes his position stronger.
It seems to give him credibility.
Right.
Go ahead, Chris.
Just one more thing. That would be a major card to pull, though. If you're begging people not to donate to you, but they're donating anyway because they feel so strong about your message, that'd be a major card to pull against like a Hillary Clinton in the general campaign, because it's like, oh, don't donate to me.
Is that something that they really do? Do they really? I mean, I don't pay close attention to these political characters, so I don't really know for sure. But when they're running their campaign, their final general election campaign, when it's scumbag A versus scumbag B, do they really, have these sort of donation measuring contests and they talk, publicly about who's been donating to them or not? I mean, I would hope that they would talk at least about the issues between them and the differences between them, not whether or not how many people have donated to them. To me, that's not a persuasive factor. Like, if I'm going to support a candidate, I'm not supporting them based on the fact that some other people have given them money. That's not, oh, great, you raised a lot of money or you have a lot of people supporting you. That shouldn't it matter what the person is saying and what the person is doing and what they're standing for. Chris, thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I presume neither of you are on board with the Trump thing. Right?
No, actually, I think the troll. This is a troll election as far as that. My guesstimation, my prophecy, if you will, whatever. It's Sanders versus Trump, and it's.
You think so?
I think it's Sanders versus Trump, and it's like almost thumbing your nose at not only elections but at the people. It's like, okay, you said scumbag, but I think Sanders and Trump are worse than scumbags in a sense that they're not just typical politicians. In the fact that Trump, obviously, he is he uncontrollable, right? Is he going to be a part of the do what you're told sort of scenario of presidents of past? Or is he going to be more like, well, I'm just going to go and do my own thing because I know better than you, and I have a lot of pride. And then Sanders is just like, he's trying to give the house away. He's trying to give everything away. Just take it. It's like a fire sale on everything, and it's all got to go.
Do you think they're the worst two candidates?
Oh yeah, the worst two.
What do you
Definitely.
think, Randy Clemens?
I think they're all pretty terrible. There's not one that could begin to deliver on any of the promises they begin to make.
Well, that's always true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, but it's that they can so blatantly, knowingly promise these things with no expectation of delivery. It's only to manipulate your emotions and to get things out of your wallet. Maybe Donald is not in desire of things from your wallet yet, but ultimately these programs that any one of them wants to enact does not reduce any kind of government spending, aka taxpayer spending. We keep that level. We keep referring to government spending, and anytime a police department gets sued, police department pays this much. No, the taxpayers do, and the media really does a lot to distort that message, and I've been trying to really tear that down. And these other people that are acting on your behalf as agents of your behalf because you've participated in this election, because you opted into these systems, it's causing damage, and we're being charged for it. And so any of these programs that they want to start, be it continuation of these endless wars that we've got going on, things that listeners here aren't any strangers to, it just takes more and more money from us. It's a circus I don't want to participate in.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That allows you to join us here. I don't think Donald Trump's concerned in the least as to whether or not people donate to him. It doesn't seem to matter at all as far as his election returns are concerned. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can join us here on Free Talk Live.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-965-1170.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Think you might be bloated? Call now for a free trial of New Biotics and see how much flatter it makes your belly. You might be surprised. But hurry, call now for details while these free trials last. 1-800-965-1170. That's 1-800-965-1170. 1-800-965-1170.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
Any Napa guy knows, and science proves, the best minivan is the one you've already got. Part kid transporter, part drywall mover. Who cares if the faux wood grain is a little faded? That was a platinum package option in 1987. With over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. Because it's not old, it's vintage. That's Napa know-how.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Wednesday, gold is $22 higher at $1,250 per ounce. Silver is 25 cents higher at $15.60 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $421 US. Silver and gold are advancing as the stock market drops triple digits. Want to diversify away from paper assets? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited here to join us on the radio waves, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Did go to Donald Trump's website. Looks like there is a way to donate. So for people who feel the need to throw money at the man who can certainly afford to run his own presidential campaign, you can do that. Our last caller saying that he believes the fact that people aren't donating to Trump is going to be a weakness for him.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it really doesn't.
Save your money.
Yeah, pay off a bill. Pay off a debt.
Right.
Go and pay down some debt or something instead
Go
of donating.
outside. Do something with your friends or family.
Yeah.
Or for yourself.
He's doing just fine. And whether he will end up being the nominee or not, it certainly seems like it's going to be him at this point. Of course, the primary season has only really just begun. There's only been the New Hampshire primary and South Carolina thus far.
Yeah, but if you haven't picked up steam by now, a lot of these candidates are going to run out of money and funding, and then just they're going to run out of steam. So
yeah, that's true. And well, the big question is, where will their supporters go after they are released after the candidate leaves? Then their supporters will likely choose someone else who remains, and that's the only way Donald Trump could possibly lose it at this point, is if a few others drop out, and that somehow empowers Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio. Of course, which one of them is the worst, I really don't know. I mean, you said you thought Donald Trump was the worst of all of them, JJ, and I don't even know. I mean, it's hard to really pick your poison at this particular level.
I just think that he possesses such a hubris, such a prideful ignorance of reality, that he's so disconnected that anything that he sort of conceives of as a solution would barely even be considered a solution by by actual society. It's like the guy he says outlandish things because I believe he thinks outlandish things. Yeah. Right. So when you have a person who's thinking that crazy and like he's okay with exporting those thoughts into his mouth and his actions, then just wait till he gets a pen in his hand. I mean, geez.
Yeah, it is kind of scary. But at the same time, I have to give the guy credit for at least being able to say what he thinks, if it is indeed what he really thinks and he's not just pandering or whatever.
I agree.
If he really does think the things that he's saying, I understand that's, he is getting votes because of it, because he sounds different, even though he may not really be that different. He at the very least sounds different. And the same's true of Sanders, right? He sounds like he's an outsider. He sounds like he's something different. He's something new. And of course, the reality is, whether it's Trump or Sanders who get elected, or Clinton or any of these other characters, it's all going to be the same.
It doesn't matter.
The next 4 years is going to be the same deal. It's going to be, they're going to build on what George Bush and Barack Obama put in place over the previous 2 decades. And it's going to be a bigger
here's the
government.
only thing is that with all the executive orders that Obama has put into place, the next president is going to have just an incredible amount of unconstitutional power.
Oh, yeah.
Like, incredible. Where he can literally just destroy departments and reshape the bureaucratic landscape with one pen, right? One signature on one more executive order. So that is the only. I guess that is the only. It's not something. That's a catalyst or something like that. It's a accelerant. Is yes. The rocket sled is going to doom, and this greasing those skids with a Trump or Sanders presidents is only going to make that happen faster. So
well, yeah, and that is the argument that some could make for supporting Donald Trump. Although I haven't heard this argument being made, is that you support the worst candidate to hasten the end of the United States. But it does seem like the people who are supporting Donald Trump are trying to make excuses for him. I mean, if you're going to support Donald Trump, you should support him from the perspective of this man will bring down the United States sooner rather than later.
Yes.
That would be the only rational thing or reason to support him. To try to pretend like he's a libertarian or the most libertarian of all the candidates is ridiculous, and it's mental gymnastics that you would have to go through in order to do that. But to embrace the tyranny, to embrace it and say, yes, I am pulling the lever for this man because I want the country to go down in flames, or Bernie Sanders, because maybe the end will be the same for both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders.
Well, I think the difference between Sanders and Trump, and not to spend too much more time on this sort of topic, but the difference between Sanders and Trump is Trump is going to harm a lot of people outside the United States, and Sanders is just going to spend everything until either you have health care that doesn't do anything for you but costs all your money, and like all these government programs, they're failing. They're going to constantly fail to meet their goals of paying out this money. Then you have the Fed having to back it up with inflation. And, I mean, that gets into a whole another issue. But, you can't pay for this, what Sanders is going to do. And Trump just seems so
want
hateful.
Universal health care as well? I'm pretty sure he does.
I don't think he actually does. I think he's going to say it.
Okay. Well,
right, because he doesn't. He's like,
that's a strange thing to be talking about if you're running a Republican campaign, though.
It is. That's true. But I think it's going to get some of the moderates, if he in his mindset, some of the moderates. So
anyway, there you go. There's your campaign update here. We don't support any of them. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Although I did throw my primary vote behind Vermin Supreme here in New Hampshire, so Vermin's my man.
Go Vermin.
There he goes.
And I'll be supporting Darrell W. Perry in the Libertarian Party's presidential primary, which is it's not a state-run primary. They do that in their own convention that happens in May. So I know he's gearing up for that, and he's appearing in various different campaign debates with the other candidates. So I'm looking forward to seeing Darrell take on people like John McAfee and Gary Johnson, hopefully on stage in Orlando at the Libertarian Party National Convention. And then they'll choose someone, and maybe we'll have a chance of an actual principled libertarian running for the Libertarian Party this year, if all goes well, which I don't expect it will, because the Libertarian Party has been debased and doesn't really stand for what it used to. So let's get back to Randy Clemens. So Randy, you were born and raised in Los Angeles. You have been into cooking, I suspect, for quite a long time.
Yes.
Where did you found a love for that, I imagine, when you were growing up?
Yeah, around the time I turned 12 or 13, my mom went back to work, and so I had plenty of time in my house to kind of start exploring whatever I wanted to, and for whatever reason, Food Network was kind of what grabbed my attention, and really started learning more about the hows and whys behind cooking.
So it wasn't actually being in the kitchen with, say, your mom or grandmother or something like that turned you into a lover of food. It was actually a television network?
I mean, I think I definitely helped my mom sometimes, but yeah, the autonomy that I got just by being able to cook at home, I could really work on whatever I wanted to. That was really great for me, and it helped a lot around the house too. My mom would come home from work, and dinner was either started or done, so she got used to it pretty fast. But I had a neighbor who had some stuff in her garden and a couple peach trees and things like that, so would often invite me over to help her pick some of her stuff. Just as she got older, she wasn't as able to go out as often, and so I was just getting all kinds of neat produce from neighbors and things like that to try, and that's really where I got interested in it and really kind of derived great joy from creating something and actually making something that was tangible and creating an experience, and just really being intentional with what I was doing, or sometimes being completely unintentional and just opening the fridge and seeing what I could make with what we had. So it really helped set in place curiosity and wanting to find out why things work a certain way or why certain flavors combine a certain way. So those are some things that I would say definitely added to my desire to want to make up my own mind about, my own political beliefs and just anything else that sort of guides me. I didn't want to just be a consumer. I really wanted to understand as much as possible what it means to be putting something in my body or to be having something come out of my mouth, speaking or eating or whatever. I wanted to be I wanted to have as much time and energy as possible put into those things as I could, so that I could be clear with people. Yeah, I really wanted to have things that I had a good idea about what they were, and I wanted to give people the same. I'm not hiding something. I'm not trying to persuade anybody with anything. I just want to combine these things that I love and be able to present them, be it food or philosophical ideas or whatever. I just really like to know that it's something that I've had the time to put together, that I've had the time to think about and make up my own mind about, not have someone tell me what to think. But really my focus has always been on how to do something, what practical steps can be taken to actually get this to be a real thing. And so food was, I think, the first instance, along with getting my computer. Like, I think the internet came around the same time, so there was a lot of access to information and a lot of information out there, empowering of like, hey, you can do this too. Here's how. You don't have to be this expert. There's no barrier to entry. You just have to try and get better and practice. It's not, you don't have to magically be an overnight success. The only job where you start at the top is digging a hole kind of thing. These all came around the same time that really helped build me up and make me want to create.
And you've been doing more than creating delicious food. You've created a new website, fspmovers.com, and we'll talk more about that and what you guys have planned. You've got some big media plans that are just starting to come together, and we'll get into that here with JJ Epic with us here and Randy Clemens on Free Talk Live.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com. There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, February 24th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.38 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,241 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $424. Antiwar.com reports, speaking to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Tuesday, Secretary of State John Kerry suggested the latest push for a ceasefire in Syria could amount to the last chance for one, and suggested that the U.S. would see a partition of the country as Plan B. Kerry did not offer any details on how this would work, of course, but the fact that the U.S. is mentioning partition at all is a huge step, as the U.S. has fiercely resisted similar considerations in neighboring Iraq, which itself is facing a near-identical war with many of the same combatants. Kerry said if the ceasefire did not get into place soon, it would be too late to allow Syria to remain whole, and that the partition of the country could form an eventual solution to the civil war, which has raged for the past 5 years. Though a de facto partition has existed in Syria for months now, with fighting along the margins, it's unfathomable that the international community could recognize it as a de jure separation so long as the Islamic State controls around half of the country, and Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front has its own contiguous statelet in the north. Though partition is meant to suggest a split on government-rebel lines, the reality is the rebels don't hold enough territory to be a country, and the partition would amount to a recognition of the Caliphate of the Islamic State as a state of its own. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports several tornadoes tore through Louisiana and Mississippi on Tuesday, killing at least 3 people and injuring more than 30 others as the storms destroyed homes and businesses and toppled a water tower, according to forecasters and emergency officials. Sheriff Willie Martin Jr. of St. James Parish told several local media outlets at least 2 people were killed and numerous others injured when an apparent tornado struck the Sugar Hill RV Park in the Louisiana community of Convent on the Mississippi River, about 60 miles west of New Orleans. The National Weather Service reported 1 fatality near the Mississippi town of Henleyfield, where it said a mobile home was destroyed. Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant declared a state of emergency for areas expected to be affected by the storm. School and government officials canceled classes or closed early in Louisiana and Mississippi as severe weather warnings lined up from Louisiana to Florida and Georgia. The Weather Service said Alabama could see tornadoes and hail on Wednesday. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Antiwar.com reports after pledging to close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay in the wake of his inauguration, President Obama is now in his final year in office, pushing a new plan aimed at a compromise with Congress by closing the site but keeping scores of detainees at some other unknown black site prison. The proposal is the latest in a string of half-hearted efforts to fulfill a promise to close the site, and unsurprisingly was met with the same resistance from Congress as usual, with a series of new bills presented aiming to make it even harder to close the facility. The usual congressional hawks are railing about the effort as dangerous and treating it as though it would actually release detainees, or perhaps as shockingly provide them with access to an actual judicial system. The White House is trying to ensure them that this is not the case and that some prison of some sort inside the U.S. would simply become the new Gitmo and house those detainees in the same manner as they presently are housed. This has human rights groups wondering what the point is. Amnesty International in particular is critical of the effort, saying shifting the program to the mainland won't solve anything and that the problem is holding them without charges, not that they are held in Cuba. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. All 7 deadly sins were committed at a church bake sale. This is Doyle Redland reporting. avarice, sloth, envy, lust, gluttony, pride, and wrath. All 7 of the fabled deadly sins were committed on Sunday at the twice-annual bake sale at St. Mary's of the Immaculate Conception Church. According to St. Mary's treasurer, Beth Ellen Coyle, church-sponsored events are a notorious breeding ground for these treasonous acts against the Lord God.
This is supposed to be about the glorification of God, not violating his word. Do that and you're no better than that cheap strumpet Melissa Wyckoff with those sinful chocolate cookies of hers.
The 7 deadly sins were first outlined in the 5th century by Gregory the Great, who himself was, as indicated by his very name, toying dangerously with the sin of pride. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian, and then special guest, we got Randy Clemens.
Hello.
Hey, Randy, thanks for joining us. And also JJ, who many of our listeners who've been with us for a while may remember from a few years back being a regular co-host of Free Talk Live. It is far too irregular, JJ, that we have you on these days.
I know.
But,
here we are.
50 miles will do that to you. You're all the way over in Manchester, and I'm here in Keene. But you are still involved in many, many media things.
That's right.
Our listeners will remember perhaps that you were the powerhouse behind Free Keene TV. You also made a newspaper back in the day.
Yes.
Free Keene News.
Free Keene Press.
Free Keene Press. See, I don't even remember what it's called.
It's okay.
But you didn't forget.
No.
Which is good.
Never forget.
That was the start. It was the newspaper, and then the TV show at the same time of running the KAC, as well as being on Free Talk Live.
You ran the Keene Activist Center for a while, and you were on here regularly. You then started your own production company. You moved out to Manchester, New Hampshire, which makes sense because if you want to make money doing video production, you probably should be where people live.
Yeah.
And so that's what you did. And you seem to have taken off as like a prolific director, producer, video guy. Like that's what you do now.
Yeah. In fact, once I came back, I took a 6-month break after running the Quill in Manchester, and then came back. And shortly, not too long after that, I started a production company with Bo Davis.
The editor of Victimless Crime Spree.
And the 101 Reasons.
That's right.
And so we started a company called Vibrant.works. And basically, it just took off right away. We both had a long history of providing video products for people and had worked up a reputation. And then the next level of quality happened with all the productions that occurred at PorkFest. And then after that, we did a bunch of other smaller videos, which then actually led to us meeting up with Randy and getting to know him because he commissioned us to do 3 different videos for what he wanted to focus on and some of the areas that he felt were lacking. And so we then started to work on the first 3 videos that came out for FSPmovers.com, the Community Market Day video, the Pork Family Connection video, and then the Pork Buddy Welcome Wagon video that focuses on what happens when new movers actually show up, and that sort of action, that sort of activity of helping people not only unload their stuff, but also getting connected with the community, sort of getting a liaison with someone who's been here and knows some of the ins and outs and some of the do's and don'ts and whatnot. So very important stuff for making sure that the transition of relocating and dislocating your life to New Hampshire can go much smoother if you have support.
Yeah,
so.
it's a nice thing to be able to, you've got the difficulty of packing up a moving truck where you live and then moving all of your life, whatever stuff you have that you haven't gotten rid of. I recommend getting rid of much of it if you can.
Yes.
And then, getting the rest of it to move it to wherever you end up in New Hampshire. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about the Free State Project, the idea of 20,000 liberty-loving people coming together to the same geographic area. Well, we already have a couple thousand of them here. And so when you show up with a full moving truck worth of stuff, well, if you let us know in advance that you're going to come and where you're going to be and, what time the truck's arriving, what time you're going to be there, where you're, which location, people will come out who you've never met. So a group of strangers likely will come to your new home and then handle all of your stuff and put it in the new home for you. And it works really, really well. They'll unload an entire, I've seen this happen, an entire 26-foot moving truck, full-on big truck, packed to the brim. I've seen it unloaded in under an hour flat.
Yes.
Which is incredible.
It is, but it's the whole many hands make for light work, and there's just so many people here who have not only received this help themselves, but also understand the value of that first contact, that first meeting, and so many great friendships form that way.
For sure.
Where now this person, the idea that strangers come out and lend or give compassion, right? You have strangers just show up, and then all they want to do is help you, right? That's all they want to do is make sure that this is good and you're all taken care of, and your initial move-in is less stressful.
Super less stressful, and all you really have to do is provide pizza and beer. Usually those are the only two things that these people require: pizza, beer, some paper towels, and you're good to go. You don't need anything fancy. They don't expect anything fancy, but it is a good time, and it's a kind of a community building exercise in a lot of ways. And maybe you'll know some of these people for the rest of your life. Maybe some of them you won't ever see again.
Sure.
Because there are some people. Johnson was looking at pictures from his move-in here in Keene a few years ago, and he was trying to figure out who a couple of those folks were, and none of us recognized them. They just sort of showed up for the move-in. I don't remember who they were or where they were from, and haven't shown up since then. So it's kind of
that's the nature of voluntary interactions. You can choose to associate or not associate, and that's perfectly fine.
So JJ, you started this media company. You're out there cranking out videos. You're working for the Free State Project. You just did the Edward Snowden 5-camera multi-edit kind of thing that you put up at freekeene.com. And, you've done a lot of work, but it's not over. You're just now getting into a new media opportunity. You and Randy are teaming up for this FSP Movers thing. You touched on it briefly. But we didn't really talk about what it is. So what is, and Randy, was it your vision for FSPmovers.com?
Well,
your thing?
I'd originally reached out to Bo. I chatted with him a little bit more than I'd had with JJ. JJ and I think, had just chatted very briefly at PorkFest last year. But I'd reached out to Bo and had some ideas for a couple of the programs that I really wanted to focus on. So that Agorist Marketplace Community Market Day project I'd mentioned earlier. Seeing how powerful that's been in Manchester and now in the other areas it's going to be expanding to, just really getting a chance to see people bring something of value to their community, something that they've made, and getting to see them grow their business through voluntary trade and exchange and sales with people in the community. It's very empowering to see that kind of support. And I wanted to show that to people, that there's a community that builds here where we trade goods with each other and often use silver, Bitcoin, or again just trade. Pork Family Connection is another group basically that connects porcupines movers for the Free State Project who are looking for something to do that's maybe educational or just fun, but that's family friendly, be it social events or something impromptu like, hey, I'm going to the park today, and 10 people might show up. But really, I wanted to show people that it wasn't a vacuum here, and not only could they come in and participate and attend these events, but they could also create. The whole idea here is for these to be decentralized, for people to be inspired to make it what they want. And, you've moved all the way across the country, why settle? So, really create what you want, make another event. If there's not one in your area, great, we're happy to help you do that. But these videos started off just as a way to showcase those. And again, the Welcome Wagon and the Pork Buddy program, the Pork Buddy being an extension of Welcome Wagon. You can actually be linked up with someone who's going to be in your area where you're moving ahead of time, a one-on-one connection.
Resource. Yeah. Someone that you can tap and ask questions.
Right. Where do people meet, or what day does the garbage get picked up? Or, oh, hey, I've heard a lot about this person. I'd like to be introduced. Something like that. But really, it started with that, and JJ and Bo had kind of talked to me at that point and said, hey, how about talking about this more as an overarching, for lack of a better term, brand, but really focusing on the people, the amazing people who've moved to New Hampshire to create something better. They don't know what it's going to be. I didn't know what it was going to be for me, but I knew it had to be better than what I had going on, more inspiring, and
it has been.
Oh, absolutely, without question. And the things we've put up since those first 3 videos have just been focusing on some of the people who are here, and just I want to get people out of the idea in their head that it's someone else, that someone else does these things, that other people are meant to do these, that other people are meant to make history. We each have a choice in every single second of our lives to do something powerful. And I love that so many people who've moved here have and continue to make that choice in many of their interactions. And so to showcase these, everyday people who do extraordinary things, the more we do that, I think the more people will realize it's not extraordinary. It can be very ordinary if we let it, if we can make this choice. And that's what I wanted to do with the site.
So some of these are FSP early movers. They're short, 2-3 minute long clips of just interviews with individuals and kind of telling their story of why they came to New Hampshire and what things have been like for them so far.
Yeah.
It's all up over at fspmovers.com. We'll continue with Randy Clemens and JJ here with Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLBeats.com. I believe in Super Beets. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free here. You can join us to bring up whatever's on your mind at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Just kind of digging into our guests here in the studio. Guest co-hosts tonight, Randy Clemens, a.k.a. the Sriracha Guy, and JJ, former co-host here on Free Talk Live.
That's right.
You guys have come out from Manchester. You've made the hour and a half or so drive out here, so thanks for coming out.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Ian. Really, it is, and I definitely wish I would have come sooner, and I hope that the next time isn't too far out.
Yes, indeed. And so we're talking about some of the things that you guys are both involved in right now out in Manchester. And JJ, of course, you're still a blogger over at freekeen.com, so we still get to hear from you every now and then there. But there's still, there's just not enough content coming out of Manchester. And considering the size of Manchester, considering the number of movers for the Free State Project that have been attracted to Manchester, I mean, there's no doubt Manchester is the key destination for movers to New Hampshire for the Free State Project because, and it doesn't even have to try. Like, in Keene, we're marketing heavily the idea of people moving to Keene, and, we've got the 100+ reasons people should move to Keene. But, with Manchester, you don't even have to market it. It sells itself. It's the big city. There's the most jobs. There's more, it's a bigger city, so there's more choices for things to do and restaurants to go to and things like that. So it's obviously going to attract people, and it has. But what it hasn't really successfully done thus far, and we've tried to needle them over the years. JJ, there was Free Manch for a while.
There was. Yeah.
That didn't work out. They kind of came, and then they went, and then they came back, and then they went, and there's really not much there of which worth speaking about. So there's not really any real go-to place, which is why I have you as one of the bloggers at freekeen.com still, and we brought on Rob Mathias and Shire Dude, and so there's some Manchester people that are on the blog at Free Keene, and that's because there really wasn't anyone else stepping up to create content outside of the Keene area to kind of cover what was going on. So it's not like nothing's happening in Manchester. There's a bunch of stuff happening, and Randy, you just talked about some of the cool stuff like Community Market Day, which is this huge thing that has sort of flowered within the last year or so. It seems like really taken off and has, as you said, outgrown some of the places that it has already been in. So it's becoming larger and more popular. But, how many videos have been made about it? I don't know. Maybe just the one that you guys put up over at fspmovers.com.
Yeah.
So not that fspmovers.com is by any means a Manchester-centric site. It's just where you guys happen to live.
Right.
And you guys are focusing on movers.
Well, there's definitely going to be a difference between Manchester. FSPmovers.com and Free Keene. Free Keene is more of like a news blog, and like it's very open source, very much open
news,
to whatever opinion. Yeah. Whereas this is more of like an off Facebook resource for movers, basically. This is meant to be a resource, and there is going to be coverage of things here and there, but for the most part, it's just it's chronicling a lot of what's going on, I think, and that's the key direction to go in. And in fact, we actually today I was talking with the first sponsored content client, and probably going to go out to the Portsmouth area to shoot some footage and get some
for an advertiser.
It's sort of like someone wants their area covered, and we'd like to cover all the areas as soon as possible. We'd love to have videos for everything up there, but of course it takes time, energy, resources, and planning and all that stuff. So if someone incentivizes us,
absolutely, we'll
with
go there first.
Sponsored content, we're going to plan to make sure this happens sooner. And there's a lot of great stuff happening everywhere. There's the Seacoast area has amazing things happening, and just as you said about the situation with Manch, is they're not getting covered. There's not a lot of videos. There's not a lot of blog posts. There's not a lot of any sort of media. So we're going to do what we can, which basically is it's a very meta sort of style where we have video, we have imagery, and then Randy puts a lot of time and effort into making a very detailed blog with a lot of linking to other resources, and he actually does some research. If you look at these early mover videos, each of them has sort of a bio that Randy put together that really goes in depth into what some of these people have done and what they think, and some of their own quotes and thoughts. So it's more than just the video. There is the SEO and the blog component that add a lot more value.
See, I didn't realize that. So I'd only seen the videos popping up on YouTube,
right?
And I didn't know there was a web component that went along with it to give you more information about the individuals in the video.
Exactly.
So this is a new
and in
level.
fact, what they're probably going to end up being, and this is sort of the nature of the beast for what we're creating, is that some of these individuals are going to do new things, and they're going to develop new products, and we're going to eventually turn these early movers into pages, so to speak, about this individual, and we're just going to keep adding in updates to, we can create another blog post and say, hey, this awesome thing happened, but then we can go to their page and then add this little addendum to add more depth to what this person has done, and as I said, chronicle a lot of what's going on here. And it is, it's not Manch-centric at all. It's Free State-centric.
You've got movers from all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't mean to suggest that, that FSP Movers would be a Manchester blog. I didn't mean to suggest that.
Right.
I was just saying I'm excited that you guys are creating media in Manchester, which is, sort of a dead zone in a lot of ways for media. And Rob Mathias is doing good work over at the Rebel Love Show. But besides him and maybe School Sucks, there's really not that much else. Well, Neocache Radio is
but we just do audio too. But you're right, there isn't a lot that's created, and I think a large part of it has to do with the fact that there is so much going on that it's almost daunting. There aren't that many videographers that do a high quality job. There are a few that do a good job, definitely, and there are a few that do a shoddy job. But there aren't that many that really try to put that really nice PR, spiffy image, polished content. You know what I'm saying?
It takes time to do that,
It does. It takes time and skill and practice. But when I look at, okay, if I want to make a video, I want to cover something, which one do I pick? I mean, I've got dozens to choose from.
There's so much, yeah.
So
it can be a little overwhelming.
It is, yeah.
I'm encountering that difficulty right now. I have a backlog of news, like stuff that I've been taking notes. Oh, I see something. I want to, talk about that on the blog or whatever. Some news headline about the Free State Project or something an activist is doing here in New Hampshire that I think is interesting. But I'm busy at the moment when I see the headline, so I just sort of shuffle it over into a to-do list of things that I need to post. And that thing's just been backing up with content. It's gotten to the point where there's so much news coverage for Free Staters here in New Hampshire and outside of New Hampshire, with the Free State Project reaching its goal of 20,000 signers, and all this news coverage that's coming out about the Free State Project and or the people related to it, and it's just so much to where I'm just having to do, like, whereas in the old days of Free Keen, because my blog Free Keen's been around for almost a decade now, in the old days it'd been like, one news story would be worth writing a whole blog about. Well, now there's so many of them, I have to just kind of do an overview blog, like, okay, here are in the last 2 weeks, here are all the news stories that mentioned a Free State Project early mover or the Free State Project or whatever, and it's just, there's so much coverage, I can't keep up with it all.
Well, and that's the whole point of these movers coming, is that we need more people that want to actualize this sort of stuff, that want to create these blog posts, create these videos, create this content, and there is plenty of opportunities. And in fact, that's part of going forward what we want to do with not only the FSP movers, but also the studio, is get more people on board. We would love it if we could incentivize people to write for the blog, and then we can sort of step away and just keep more of an editorial overview while we develop other projects.
And the studio you're talking about is being built in a secret bunker in Manchester, somewhere in the hills?
It's in my house in Manchester, which is where we also hold the community market day. So it's a not-so-secret secret.
Okay, not so secret.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a studio, a TV studio, and it's going to be run by activists, which is really exciting. The first one of its kind, I think. It's Free Talk Live.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's PROPUR USA.com or call 800-544-3533.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
Have you felt different almost your entire life? Like the way things are run never made any sense? They've tried to get you to believe that you couldn't handle making all of your own decisions, that your lives had to be governed by a set of rules based on punishing everyone for the mistakes of a few. It's been a long journey, but the Free State Project has finally met its goal of 20,000 participants. Early movers have already accomplished so much, but we still need your help to show the world we can build a shining beacon of liberty. Stop making excuses and join us here in New Hampshire. Visit freestateproject.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Ian in the studio with you here tonight. Also joining me, special guest co-host JJ and Randy. Randy Clemens, the newest of the movers in the studio, and you guys are behind the new FSPmovers.com. Randy, you're coming up on your first full year here in New Hampshire as of the beginning of April. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been quite a year.
And you've really enjoyed it. It sounded like, I mean, I remember when I first heard about you, it wasn't because I knew about the Sriracha guy. I think the Free State Project posted your blog post on their blog or somewhere on the Facebooks or wherever. Someone said, hey, this blogger and cook from, or chef from, the West Coast is going to be moving out here. And I remember reading your blog post at the time, and it was on randyclemens.com, which is your blog site, which is mostly about food, but apparently also every now and then you put in your political opinions or your beliefs about things.
I was
Or not
pretty
food.
careful to just pick my name as my domain name because I didn't know what it was going to ever be, and I didn't want to just be beholden to something that would go away, or my effort would die out from it. So I figured my name was a pretty good thing to start with when I was just thinking about starting my blog. But yeah, I probably got it started in 2009, I believe, but
Okay.
it was very food centric. I really had kind of bigger aspirations of making it be, some destination for recipes and all that. And so I did that for many years, but yes, it took on a much more personal role. Actually, my parents both passed away almost 3 years ago, independent of each other, about a month apart. My mom was going through alternative cancer treatments after some failed chemotherapy, and she wanted to take a more food-based approach. So we tried this Gerson treatment that's down in Mexico, which is a really, really great idea. It's a tremendous amount of work, and she was a little far gone and a little too tired for it to take effect. But it was another instance of exploring food as something that you could take control of your life with, and you can take control of your health with. Unfortunately, this kind of program isn't offered or isn't even available to be offered in the United States.
Thanks to the FDA.
Yeah, big thanks. And so, we went and spent 3 weeks down in Tijuana to learn how to do this program and things like that. So I wanted to write about it very openly, and I did. And the response from it was very overwhelming in the best way. So
you'd already built this as a food blog, and then you kind of broke into, here's what's going on with my mom.
Yeah, and just sort of like, for me, it kind of shifted my priorities, my perspective. And yeah, the response from it over time, to look back, I don't really ever look at numbers or analytics, but I needed to go in and update something for Google Analytics.
So you happen to,
and out of curiosity, it was like, oh, what recipe what recipes are people looking at? And I was really kind of shocked to find that way more people were reading this very personal stuff. Yeah, about my mom, and then my father passing away about a month later.
Wow.
So it kind of made me think about what I was writing about, and maybe it wouldn't be crazy to write about the crazy things in my head. But as I've wanted to do more of that, it really, writing does take a tremendous amount of time and focus for me. We were just talking during the break about the Facebook time vacuum.
Yep.
Add that to the equation, and I definitely take a little too long to get these ideas out, but I don't have a problem talking. I can talk for a very long time. And I've just lacked those resources as far as how to put that together as a cohesive story or work in video, or to have a location where that could be possible. And so working with JJ has been tremendous in that regard. He's really been able to, we work very well together. We have complementary skill sets, and neither of us is prideful about the editing process. We understand that we want to put out a great story. I mean, and put out something that's very reflective of what's actually going on here.
So now, do you have video skills as well, or is it JJ is carrying all the water?
It's just my handsome face on the camera.
Okay.
But no.
And he's good at speaking too. To be honest, if you look at the first 3 videos
at FSPmovers.com.
That's right. The Community Market Day, the Pork Family Connection, and the Pork Buddy Welcome Wagon video.
Okay.
Randy is featured heavily because he does such a good job explaining the story. As an editor, I have to take all these different interviews and clips and pieces, and I have to write a story from that.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most difficult part, is to write a cohesive story between all different people talking about all different parts of the same idea. And so, Randy's very natural and on camera, and also the ideas too. That's important. Yes, I'm terrible. I don't want to write blogs. I don't want to write texts. It's not my thing. I get bored with it so quickly and easily. So, he definitely picks up the slack on that end. But I think more important than even the blog or the video is coming up with great ideas, and great concepts to pursue. It's like, if you have energy, you have resources, you have talent, but no direction, then it's kind of wasted. It's going to end up scrolling down Facebook, But when you have direction, when you have a good idea, when you have a good concept to pursue, then that just makes the job of goal setting and achievement that much easier. So we do work well together, and we're really excited to talk about the next project or the next evolution. And you touched on it briefly, the studio that we want to record Randy at, and in his basement And we're calling the studio. Randy, you want to call it?
Oh, Fifth Quill Studios.
Fifth
Quill Studios.
Yes, that's right. The Fifth Quill Studios. And part of this is like.
Is that like the fifth column?
Well, you see, the fourth estate is the media, right?
Yeah.
The fifth estate is actually bloggers, non-mainstream media, outside of alternative media. Yeah, independent media. And so Quill is a pen, that's something you write with, and then the studio.
Which is mightier than a sword, of course.
Right.
So that's important.
So there is a meaning behind the name of why it's pen. Quill is, of course, close to us as being porcupines. Right. It all works so well. And then the network that we're going to distribute this stuff on is called the Linchpin Network.
Okay, so you ready to talk about this then?
Well, I'm giving you the precursors.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if that was something we should talk about here. This is the Linchpin Network?
That's right.
This is a big idea. What is it?
The big idea is a 24/7 news type, not just news, but news and entertainment network initially that features content with a libertarian voluntarist slant. Because that's how we have. That's who we are.
So not specific to New Hampshire, but the whole world.
It's original content. We're going to create original content, but we're also going to fill it in with existing content that's already out there. Like, let's say some of the videos we've created for this, for FSP Movers, or PorkFest videos, or like the Snowden video. Like, there's a lot of content that we can fit into it, and in fact, things like the stream of Free Talk Live, things like that. So this is really important to us, and this is part of the driving factor behind what's going on with the studio and the treasure and time that's been invested in it so far. But it's really going to shape the future of what we want to do, and spreading the message, getting it out there, and really just having an alternative media source that consistently puts out, quality materials that will give you a different view, a different lens than the mainstream will.
How is it going to differ from, let's say, the Next News Network? Are you familiar with that?
No.
So Gary Franchi is a liberty activist. I don't know where he's based out of, somewhere in the Midwest maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, he launched the Next News Network, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I think it's mostly news-based kind of content. So maybe that will be one of the differences. Like, he makes his own newscast in his studio, but for a while he was actually having Free Talk Live broadcast live on his channel. He had some sort of fancy switcher where we could log into and sort of stream into his system, and then he could switch to that stream and whatever. I don't know what the hell kind of software he had. I don't imagine it was cheap. But so basically, yours would not be the first libertarian 24/7 network, but that's really the only other one I know about.
There's some other key points that we'll talk about that I think will differentiate it from what's out there, and it really comes from the ideas and the direction that we want to go.
And what was it called, the network?
The network is going to be called Linchpin Network.
Linchpin spelled correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So, but there's no website yet, nowhere someone could bookmark?
Not yet.
Yeah.
No.
All right. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Join us on Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit-selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away 5,000 free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-961-8439. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-961-8439. 1-800-961-8439.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Wednesday, gold is $22 higher at $1,250 per ounce. Silver is 25 cents higher at $15.60 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $421 US. Silver and gold are advancing as the stock market drops triple digits. Want to diversify away from paper assets? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited here. You can join us toll-free, 855-450-FREE, and you can bring up whatever you want. Maybe you want to ask our guests about their experience being part of the Free State Project, early movers for the Free State Project. The early mover phase is now over as of 2 weeks ago. The official move has now begun now that the Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 people who have signed up and have pledged to move, as the three of us who are on the show here tonight have already done. 20,000 people have signed up to pledge to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. A lot of the people who are moving here were never activists before they moved. JJ, were you ever active?
I was, actually, yes.
You were. What did you do prior to moving to New Hampshire?
I literally was activated by Ron Paul's 2008 presidential campaign, and then I was running the Greater Milwaukee meetup for Ron Paul, and so I was doing activism to spread Ron Paul signs and sign waves and all those sorts of things, and then some of the rallies or some of the Republican Party rallies and sort of things. I would go and help run the table for Ron Paul. And that's sort of the beginning, but it wasn't long after I started that I discovered the Free State Project. And I discovered that people in New Hampshire, even in 2007, there were more people showing up to events in New Hampshire than there were in Greater Milwaukee, which has the same number of people as the state of New Hampshire. So
yeah,
I was like severely disappointed with the turnout, severely disappointed with the energy, and there was a lot of enthusiasm for Ron Paul, and a lot of people truly believed that he was a good candidate, and I don't dispute that. Their heart was in the right place, but they just didn't have time to actually do anything about it. So I came to New Hampshire,
or they didn't want to make the time to do
right?
something.
Exactly. So I came to New Hampshire a month and what was it, 5 days before the primary so that I could vote for him. And I did. Because you had to be here a month before you could vote in the primary.
Wow, I didn't realize that was your motivation for moving when you did.
Well, I realized I had an opportunity, and I was like, well, if I can help him with his New Hampshire primary, then that's great. But I'm also moving for the Free State Project regardless. And then, obviously the results happened as they did. I quickly went from being a Ron Paul Republican to more of a voluntarist, anarchistic-minded individual.
Yeah, they say the difference between a voluntarist, a full-on voluntarist, and a minarchist, which is what you're describing, somebody who wants smaller government, is about 6 months in New Hampshire.
That's about right. It was 6 months in a failed Ron Paul campaign, so I can't tell you which one was. Maybe it was less than 6 months.
But then you got here,
but I was living with Russell and Kat Canning at the time, which really helped.
Two of the earliest movers.
We had a lot of discussions, and their arguments were just such that I couldn't. Overcome them.
You moved in with two of the most principled anarchists out there, and you weren't yet an anarchist.
No, but I was open-minded, and it definitely was a very short trip at that point. So.
Who better to learn from than Russell Canning?
Oh, and just wonderful people. And Dave Ridley was there for a while, too. So
these are, for our listeners who are new to the show, these are some of the earliest movers. Russell Canning, Kat Canning, Dave Ridley. They were some of the earliest movers to New Hampshire. Unfortunately, Russell and Kat had to move out due to some family issues down in Texas. They are now over-the-road truck drivers. Hopefully we'll see them back here someday. They still come back for visits, which is nice. Dave Ridley is still living in New Hampshire. He sort of floats around and does his thing over at RidleyReport.com. And he's been, talk about video prolific work. Dave Ridley is the most consistent, longest-running video producer that is in the movement. I mean, he's
without a doubt
incredible. He doesn't have the quality as far as he's still shooting on DV tape. And he's still taking however much time it takes to import that. I mean, for listeners that aren't familiar with this, DV tape was sort of the end of the tape-based cameras. And so in the late 1990s, DV tape came out. And Dave's still using DV tape. So it's a bit of a more time-consuming process because when you're done recording on the tape, you've got to rewind the tape. Then you've got to play back the tape and sort of ingest it into your computer. So it takes a lot of time to just get from recording to actual editing process, whereas now you can just record straight to an SD card, pull your SD card out of the camera, and put it directly into your computer and save literally hours of time. So hopefully we'll get Dave to upgrade to one of these newer, fancier cameras. But just despite his lack of newer technology, he still manages to put out more video content than I think pretty much anyone else in the entire New Hampshire Liberty scene. So kudos to him for that.
Definitely.
And so you got here a while back, JJ. You and your experience here spans a long period of time. Randy, you've only been in New Hampshire for just about a year. You're coming up on your first-year anniversary, and you really jumped in with both feet. And I didn't know for sure what you were going to do when you got here, but I knew that you were definitely like a media kind of personality, it seemed like, from the blogs that you posted in advance, because that's how I was made aware of you. Was someone posted about this guy who's the Sriracha guy is moving to New Hampshire. And so I went and I read your post, which was all about you kind of just finding the Free State Project and all of a sudden deciding to move. What was the timetable like? Because it seemed like it was a very short process from finding the Free State Project and ultimately deciding to move.
It was a very quick decision, actually. I'd made that list of things I was looking for quality of life and revisited this idea of the Free State Project that I'd completely forgotten about, and reading through.
So it tickled you at some point in the past, but you didn't even know really.
Yeah, I was a member of the Libertarian Party since I was 13 years old, so I got like the LP News in the mail. I didn't often read it, but one of the times I did, I suppose, I caught wind of the Free State Project. So forgot about it for a good amount of time, and after just taking a look at that list of things I was looking for, it kind of occurred to me that I'd really deeply identified with these libertarian ideals. And back to your 6-month comment, I would definitely say about 6 months in, I'm much more on the anarchist side, thus fulfilling the prophecy. But it just made a lot more sense to me, and so refinding the Free State Project online, I read it that night at the end of making this long list, and I think to be responsible, I made myself sleep on it. But I woke up the next morning,
wow,
about 6 hours later, and read it again and signed the statement of intent. And then
when you're saying you read it, I mean, there's a lot on the Free State Project's website. Were you reading just the statement of intent, or did you read the 101 Reasons to Move to New Hampshire?
No, I started checking all of it out, really, and tried to get information from other sources, too, not just from the Free State Project's website, but really, learning more about what actually is happening here, what was already sort of protected in a way. I mean, I love everything that New Hampshire kind of stood for, which the reasons why it was chosen by the first 5,000 signers for the Free State Project. So those things being in place and just the momentum and the ability to jump in, how accessible it's been, it's just been tremendous. So about a month after signing the pledge, I started looking at properties online. And less than a month after that, I came out to look at homes and decided on the 3rd that I looked at that day and put in an offer and purposely waited out the winter, but did come back to Liberty Forum last year to check it out, and then just could not wait to get here. It was so inspiring to be at Liberty Forum and to hear all the really, I think I'm pretty smart. I felt so stupid that weekend because there's such forward-thinking minds there and people who've really put in a lot of time and effort to make up their own minds, and for them to be able to really confidently sell and promote their ideas of liberty and what it actually means to be free. And to be able to get to explore that's the freedom, is not just to be told you're free, but to be able to actually see what that means. It was wildly inspiring for me, and I could not wait to get back. And I don't ever try to persuade anyone. One of my good friends is in the room here visiting from Los Angeles, and I don't aim to persuade. I just want people to see it, and that's what the videos kind of came from. Is I think once really you can see what's going on here, you can find your place in it, see how you can be part of it, but also contribute.
At the very least, these videos can give you a taste of what it's like. I mean, that's really the best we can do, whether it's the videos over at fspmovers.com, this show talking about, some of the issues and the things that are going on, the exciting activism, a movie like Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, or 101reasonsfilm.com. These are great documentary films that or Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. All of these are just little slices of what it is that we're really experiencing here, which is why coming to something like the Liberty Forum or the Porcupine Freedom Festival or Keenvention, one of these real-life opportunities to connect with these people, is more, I think, valuable than any of it. I mean, you can watch a bunch of videos, but there's really nothing that compares to being in the same room with 300 people who agree with you.
Well, not only that, the videos really can't cover the community, the bonding, the friendships. There's so much here that, yes, that you watch these amazing videos, but then you come here and you meet these amazing people, and then all of a sudden these amazing people, especially if you're a person who fits within their association, then you're going to make friends so quickly, make quality friends, lifelong friends, and people that will really elevate you to the next level or help you get there.
You can join us here and share your thoughts with us. Maybe you're out there and you're still on the fence. You're not sure about the Free State Project. You still aren't really sure if all the claims are true. Well, if you got any questions, you got 3 early movers here. We're happy to help you with that. 855-450-FREE. Also in the news, research shows drugs bought on the darknet are better in quality. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
CopBlock has quickly become the top police accountability group in the United States, and maybe even the world. With chapters across the globe, there's probably a group near you that you can join. If not, you can start your own. Besides joining a local CopBlock group, you can also give just $1 a month to the CopBlock network. Your contribution helps support the efforts of those who make CopBlock possible. So please join the CopBlock network now at copblock.lrn.fm. That's copblock.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, February 24th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.38 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,241 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $424. Antiwar.com reports, speaking to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Tuesday, Secretary of State John Kerry suggested the latest push for a ceasefire in Syria could amount to the last chance for one, and suggested that the U.S. would see a partition of the country as Plan B. Kerry did not offer any details on how this would work, of course, but the fact that the U.S. is mentioning partition at all is a huge step, as the U.S. has fiercely resisted similar considerations in neighboring Iraq, which itself is facing a near-identical war with many of the same combatants. Kerry said if the ceasefire did not get into place soon, it would be too late to allow Syria to remain whole, and that the partition of the country could form an eventual solution to the civil war, which has raged for the past 5 years. Though a de facto partition has existed in Syria for months now, with fighting along the margins, it's unfathomable that the international community could recognize it as a de jure separation so long as the Islamic State controls around half of the country, and Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front has its own contiguous statelet in the north. Though partition is meant to suggest a split on government-rebel lines, the reality is the rebels don't hold enough territory to be a country, and the partition would amount to a recognition of the Caliphate of the Islamic State as a state of its own. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports several tornadoes tore through Louisiana and Mississippi on Tuesday, killing at least 3 people and injuring more than 30 others as the storms destroyed homes and businesses and toppled a water tower, according to forecasters and emergency officials. Sheriff Willie Martin Jr. of St. James Parish told several local media outlets at least 2 people were killed and numerous others injured when an apparent tornado struck the Sugar Hill RV Park in the Louisiana community of Convent on the Mississippi River, about 60 miles west of New Orleans. The National Weather Service reported 1 fatality near the Mississippi town of Henleyfield, where it said a mobile home was destroyed. Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant declared a state of emergency for areas expected to be affected by the storm. School and government officials canceled classes or closed early in Louisiana and Mississippi as severe weather warnings lined up from Louisiana to Florida and Georgia. The Weather Service said Alabama could see tornadoes and hail on Wednesday. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Antiwar.com reports after pledging to close the detention center at Guantanamo Bay in the wake of his inauguration, President Obama is now in his final year in office, pushing a new plan aimed at a compromise with Congress by closing the site but keeping scores of detainees at some other unknown black site prison. The proposal is the latest in a string of half-hearted efforts to fulfill a promise to close the site, and unsurprisingly was met with the same resistance from Congress as usual, with a series of new bills presented aiming to make it even even harder to close the facility. The usual congressional hawks are railing about the effort as dangerous and treating it as though it would actually release detainees, or perhaps as shockingly provide them with access to an actual judicial system. The White House is trying to ensure them that this is not the case and that some prison of some sort inside the U.S. would simply become the new Gitmo and house those detainees in the same manner as they presently are housed. This has human rights groups wondering what the point is. Amnesty International in particular is critical of the effort, saying shifting the program to the mainland won't solve anything and that the problem is holding them without charges, not that they are held in Cuba. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Patrons at a local Boston sports club watched dumbfounded today as an unidentified man's personal trainer forced him to put on an embarrassing athletic spectacle for the entire gym.
Like a machine, there you go.
According to sources, the degrading little show went on for nearly 45 minutes, with the man reportedly being paraded around every section of the fitness establishment, doing anything his trainer commanded.
I wish I could turn around and concentrate on my workout, but I can't help but keep watching. He has to know how ridiculous he looks.
Sources added that the whole spectacle was made even sadder by the personal trainer encouraging the man to, quote, push himself a little harder.
It's like watching a trained seal.
Okay, so when you stand like that, you want to feel pressure in your knees, like this, right here, okay? Okay, give it a shot.
You root for him to tell the trainer that he's a human being with dignity and just walk away. But no, he keeps subjecting himself to this.
All right. Let's have you get on your back, walk like a crab. Come on.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of the program. You can join us here toll free if you'd like at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And for the most part tonight, we've been pretty New Hampshire-centric. I don't know where that
we don't have to get sad about it.
Oh, I see what that is. That's, for whatever reason, the John McAfee campaign video just started playing in the background there. Anyway, he's got like a 7-minute long campaign video. That's for another time. So, Randy Clemens, JJ, Ian here in the studio. Randy and JJ coming all the way over from Manchester. Brought some other friends from Manchester out as well. So
a lot of first timers here.
Yeah, we got a good studio vibe going here tonight in the LRN.FM studios. We've been discussing a lot about their new website, y'all's new website, fspmovers.com, a place where people can go and get a feel for kind of what it might be like to attend the Community Market Day, which is this thing that's been happening in Manchester and is starting to expand out to other areas of New Hampshire. Of course, listeners who might be new to the show may be unaware, we're movers as part of the Free State Project. Almost every voice you hear on this radio program are movers of, for the Free State Project, people who've uprooted their lives from wherever they came from. JJ, you came from Wisconsin. Randy, you from California. I came from Florida. Uprooting our lives, coming to New Hampshire, and getting active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. And it's happening. There are over 20,000 people now who are signed up for the Free State Project. About 2,000 of them are already here in New Hampshire, so we've got a good solid 10% already. And more are gearing up. They're ready to come at the Liberty Forum, which is the event that all three of us just attended over the weekend. You always meet new people when you're at Liberty Forum. There's people coming in from all around the country and around the world in some cases to meet new potential neighbors and friends, people who are already here, people who are early movers as we are. And of the people that I met this weekend, usually when you're at the Liberty Forum, this was the first Liberty Forum that has happened since the Free State Project has completed its goal of getting 20,000 people to sign up. At other Liberty Forums, there's always been a lot of people there who are, like if I would ask them, are you planning to move to New Hampshire? Their answer would be, well, I'm checking it out. I'm kind of up here. I'm checking this out. I want to meet you guys, see if this is a real thing. Almost everyone I talked to was, yes, I'm planning to move, and they had a date in mind.
Nice.
Like they had, I'm going to be here within 2 years, 3 years, or, I'm moving in April. So people are planning to move, and I only ran into like one or two people who were still thinking about it. So fewer people are now on the fence than ever before, and a lot of people are putting their plans into motion to get here. And what you guys are doing over at fspmovers.com is giving people something to look at from the outside and see what it's like for these early movers. For the people who've already made the move, you've created a series of videos that is, I think, at least four strong now, maybe 5, of early movers.
7.
7, that many already?
Yep.
Okay. I got to get caught up. See, I got to get caught up and post these over at freekeen.com. Maybe I should have you do that, JJ, actually. But you've been posting these, and they're short. They're nice.
Yes.
You kind of put them at the standard YouTube 2-3 minute long length.
Yeah, most of them are actually about between a minute and a minute and a half.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're very shareable. They're very short and sweet, and it really just details what this individual. It's all about the individuals. We're getting back to the root of a lot of libertarian and voluntarist philosophy, which is all about the individual. So these videos celebrate what this person did, and it doesn't speak for the Free State Project. It doesn't speak for anyone else. It's just this person. I moved here at this time. This is sort of my involvement since I moved, and this is my thoughts about the Free State Project. And it just boils it down in a very short format and very easy to watch.
Now, do you guys have a bunch of these stacked up that you've already edited and you're just waiting to release, or are you kind of editing each one as you?
I usually do batches of 4, and the 4th one is actually we're just putting the final touches on and getting ready to publish that probably later this week. But and then the next batch will start. But I have 8 more 8 more interviews slated, 8 more individuals to cover just from the footage I have. And then we'll have to go and get more footage.
So we've been kind of back and forth talking about your current projects, but also your history, like where you came from, how you got here. Randy Clemens, JJ, longtime listeners know you very well. You've been a co-host on the show in the past. Randy, it's your first time really sitting behind a microphone for any decent amount of time. I don't remember if we ever even had you on as a guest before.
You at PorkFest.
PorkFest, that's right. I felt like we might have had you on once. But now you're actually sitting in here, you're guest co-hosting, so we're digging in a little deeper into your history. And you found libertarianism as a teenager. You fell in love with cooking. But Daryl insisted that I ask, and it's a darn good question, how did you become the Sriracha guy? Because you were interested in cooking, but there was obviously some sort of love for Sriracha that came in there at some point. So what happened there?
Sure. So when I went to culinary school, I'd actually already known a little bit about Sriracha. So a good friend of mine in high school, he's still a good friend of mine. In fact, he's moving to New Hampshire for the Free State Project.
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
He was at PorkFest last year, and he saw it, and he got it. And so he'll be here sometime in May or June, definitely before the next PorkFest.
That's exciting.
So his family lived much closer to the high school than I did, and we were in marching band and jazz band together and things like that. So I spent a lot of time at his house. He's Vietnamese. He's a great cook. His sister's a great cook. His mom is a phenomenal cook. And just one day, she'd made this giant bowl of gum ghiền, this Vietnamese fried rice, and they had a bottle of Sriracha out on the table. And for whatever reason, I just picked it up and tried it. And
didn't know what it was.
The clouds parted and the sun shone through. And I was hooked. And so, I mean, they actually were laughing at how much of it I was using. And this was before you could get it everywhere, so the next time they went to the market, they picked me up a bottle. Huh. But I started playing around with it in culinary school, and beyond that, just kind of using it in recipes, not just like as a condiment on things, but as an ingredient in the recipe, and was really finding that its flavors lend themselves well to a lot of different cuisines. And over the years, I had this idea of wanting to do some kind of cookbook about it, and I'd seen another few ideas of mine come out independently by other people, and this one I didn't want to let go of. And right around that time, I think the New York Times had put together a piece about the backstory behind this sauce and how this, a guy.
What is it?
Well, so it's basically a Thai style of hot sauce from a town called Sriracha. But the reason most of us know it is because this gentleman from Vietnam, David Tran, was more or less sort of forced to flee Vietnam after the Vietnam War. And so he paid his own way to get on a Taiwanese freighter called the Huy Fong, which is his company's Huy Fong Foods. Yeah. So he named it after this ship that he fled his country from, and came to the United States, found out where chili peppers were growing, and continued his business that way, but couldn't get a bank loan, couldn't get anything, and just built it himself. So it's goes back to an individual, and built it into a 30-year overnight success. But learning that story behind it, of how it came to be, was sort of what told me, go ahead and pursue this. Like, it's not just tasty, but there's a really fascinating story behind it that even myself, who liked the stuff a lot, had no idea was there. So really,
did you meet the guy? Is he still around?
Oh yeah. That guy, David Tran, he's 70 or 71 now, and he's in that factory all the time, and he's really built it. It's a 650,000 square foot factory now, with just all kinds of crazy robot machinery that he helped design and engineer.
So this is the
brilliant.
same factory that made it in the news recently for the scent that was upsetting some of the neighbors or something like that?
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago, I think, almost now, that they were in some trouble. But again, I think there was more than met the eye. They basically had been in this other factory for close to 30 years across the street from a child care facility and never had any problems whatsoever. They moved to this new city. And I don't know what exactly happened, but they paid off their loan to the city 7 years early, and there was no prepayment penalty. So the city was missing out on a lot of interest. And so these complaints came in to the tune of about 61 complaints, I think, and 41 of them were from the same 4 households. And one of those households was the city council member's son. So there was just a whole lot of questions being asked here as to whether or not this was actually a problem or if this was being constructed or manufactured as a problem. And so when news got out that this factory was being shut down, people were up in arms about it.
Yeah.
And finally, Governor Brown, I think, was the governor at the time. I don't know if he still is. It doesn't matter. But basically, they sent a delegation down to the factory to meet with the city, and it was taken care of magically that day after months of trouble. So, and halting their production for this problem that never existed at their previous factory. So
somebody pulled some political strings and made it disappear.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, fascinating.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, and so you are the Sriracha guy. You fell in love with it. You wrote a cookbook or 2 about it, which I think people can get at randyclemens.com, the cookbook.
There's links there, Amazon, anywhere fine bookstores, anywhere fine books are sold.
We continue here. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Every while you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. The toll-free number that allows you to join us is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's see here. If you want to save big time on your purchases at Amazon, maybe you want to go buy some Sriracha, because I bet you can buy it at Amazon.
You can. Yeah. And the cookbooks, of course.
The cookbooks. So you want to save on the cookbooks? You can do that. How about saving 25% on Randy's cookbooks? And Randy gets all the money that he normally gets when you do this. So like whenever somebody buys a cookbook through saveitpurse.com, the author gets the full amount. Amazon gets their full amount, but you get it at 25% off. How does it work? Well, you've got to pay with Bitcoin, and that allows you to get tremendous discounts, 25, 35, 45% off. I've gotten all of those discounts. I've even gotten the 50% tier. Now, Purse does take a cut off the top, so you don't really ultimately get the full 50% off, but if you select 50% off, Purse takes their cut. You end up getting like 35 or 36% off, so it's still pretty sweet. You get a huge discount by going through saveitpurse.com, and it works well. I've done it 40-plus different times over the last year. I've saved nearly $1,000 that I otherwise would have paid because I was going to buy all of the things that I bought anyway. I was going to buy it anyway, so why not get 20 or more percentage off? Get started at saveitpurse.com and thank me later. So we're talking a lot about the Free State Project here tonight, and being an early mover, as the three of us have been for the Free State Project. You guys, JJ and Randy, you've launched FSPmovers.com, relatively new site, only been, a couple months? How long's it been around?
Oh, geez, like
February 3rd we put it up, right?
Not even that.
Or no, February 1st we beat the 20,000 signers.
Right. We launched
by 2 days.
just like 2 or 3 days before. Yes, 2 days before the trigger.
Well, you were doing something before. Were you putting the videos up before the site went up?
Some of the videos had been completed as like some of the first 4 early mover videos were meant to help supplement the fundraising campaign that was going on, and I created the fundraiser video.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just meant to help continue the social media presence and give people something to share. With the link at the end, it goes to the fundraiser. Well, once the move was triggered, we sort of repurposed those videos to just be general videos. So they don't have, at the end, it's not all about give us money. It's just here's how to find out more movers like this one, that sort of thing. So the ending slate is just basically here, watch a video about 4 other movers, and it will cycle through and basically just like I said, it's a minute and a half for pretty much the average time, and that goes by really quick.
Yeah,
and if this interests you, wow, this person did something really amazing, and they seem pretty awesome. Watching the next one or the next 4 is going to take you less than 10 minutes.
Right.
So you can get through, and not only this, but this also gives the new movers an opportunity to get to know some of these people before they show up. And so when they meet some of these early mover video individuals, they'll be like, "Hey, I saw your video, and I really like what you did with X, and it really inspires me because I have an idea in this direction." Right. So they can connect and they can find individuals who have the same passions they do, and maybe have done a lot of the legwork already and have the sort of easier path figured out, and why reinvent the wheel? You know, if a lot of the work has already been done, you can just add another wheel instead of reinventing the same one you're using. So,
well, and back to that idea of empowering the individual. So having this whole backstory, complementing the video, there's quite a bit of writing that goes along with each one of these, and in that writing, I really try to link to as much stuff as possible, not just so people can find these things, but again, the way I inform my own decisions, I really like to read multiple sources of things and put together my own thoughts. So I really try to help anyone who also goes down the rabbit hole often, and really try to link to as much information as I can. But I think it builds in a level of mutual respect within this community, where you see what this person's accomplished. Not only that they're someone who's pleasant to interact with in person, in the moment, but wow, this is an ordinary person who's come here and done some pretty extraordinary things. And the more prevalent we can make these examples, because there are countless examples, it might start to break down that barrier in people's minds that this is for someone else to do.
Yeah, that's true. I can do this. You can reach this.
I can be part of history.
Right, and it's easier than you think. I mean, there's a reason why we now have, I think, 18 at least, maybe even more, Free Staters, actual Free State Project early movers, just like us, who've actually gotten elected to State House just within the last 2 years. There's more if you total up over the last decade how many of them have ever been elected. But we've got close to 24 people in political office here.
Well, and that's important also because the population we currently have, the close to 2,000 people here, that represents about 0.5% of the New Hampshire population. But 18 state reps out of 400 is close to 500. Or I'm sorry, is close to 5%. So 0.5%. Of the population is represented now by 5% of the state house representatives.
So overrepresentation, basically.
Yes, and so this is what you can point to as being one of the inherent problems with the system, which is why I believe it has to be destroyed. But this,
we'll get there.
Yes, baby steps. But ultimately, there is power here. Like we are speaking up. We are using our voices, and individuals are speaking up and using their voices. And there are people like Mark Warden, who does Porcupine Real Estate, the guy who helps so many people get situated here.
Who just won a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Liberty Forum.
Yeah, he's a fantastic human being. He was one of the last videos we put up, and he's done a tremendous amount of work, and he's also paying it forward. He gives a portion of all his home sales to the Free State Project, but he's also started this Political Action Committee, PAC. Was that what that stands for?
I didn't know that.
Called Get Involved. He, along with Marav Yakov and Amanda Bolden, I believe. I could be wrong on this.
Other early movers.
Yes. Yeah. Basically to help people get elected to office once they've been in New Hampshire for 2 years. It's really to help them raise money, but also just know all the steps and everything. So groundwork is being laid, framework is being established to help make this not repeating the wheel, so that when people come here, they can tap into already existing resources.
Which is amazing. I mean, so that the first 2,000 that are here have already created, as you said, the groundwork, the framework, where we're building these sort of institutions like the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. It's been around for now, a decade or something like that. It's become one of the most influential political action groups in all of New Hampshire, and a lot of Free Staters were involved with that and are involved with that. So you can just come here and get plugged in, but you can also come here and create something new. And I think that's an important thing to know, is if you're not seeing the kind of activism that you want to see, then just come here and do it. Like, there's already a lot of activism that is happening and that you can just plug into. But there are also people out there who might be really excited by what it is that you have, whatever it is that hasn't yet been created yet that you want to create. You put it out there, and people will step up if they like it to help you out with that idea. You're just going to have to put it out there first.
Right. I think the next new mover video we have on the docket is Will Kostrick. And one of the great points he makes is that you can come here and try out different things, and you can do activism you didn't think you normally do, but just to try it, just to see what it's like for you, and walk a mile in their shoes sort of thing happens, and you have a better perspective. And
Longtime listeners may remember Will Kostrick made national television news when he open carried a gun. I think it was some sort of pistol outside of a campaign event for Barack Obama in, I think, 2008.
Right. Yep.
And stirred up some controversy.
Yes, he did.
But he's done a lot besides that. That's just what he made television
and so,
for.
This video highlights that, which you wouldn't have known that he did all these sorts of things, because he's really known for a couple things, right?
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. Well, I've got a challenging story here from Liberty.me. One of the authors there She's saying libertarians don't necessarily mean more liberty, having more libertarians. She's saying concentrating libertarians isn't necessarily going to help. Is she right? Well, we'll give her a chance to make the argument. It's Free Talk Live.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hewlett-Packard is known for their basic, no-frills computers, but that doesn't mean they can't keep up with the latest technology. In a press release yesterday, HP said, quote, "We are excited to begin offering that cloud thing that everyone is talking about. We definitely have the cloud on our computers, and it is better than anyone else's cloud." Earlier today, I sat down with HP spokesman Gary Clemens, who said the company couldn't wait to show people, quote, how they do their cloud stuff.
We are absolutely thrilled that now people with computers or phones, both will now be able to back things up to the cloud.
Clemens says it isn't surprising they're, quote, up on the cloud, considering they're on the cutting edge of all the latest tech trends. Are there any additional features?
Crowdsourcing is something we are having. Crowdsourcing 2.0. We have social sharing. We have 5G, 6G, really all the Gs. We have app. We have all of it in the computer.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. We got time. If you want to make the call, you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Coming up later this year, you missed your opportunity to go to the Liberty Forum, or maybe you did go to the Liberty Forum and you want to come back to New Hampshire in the fall to see what it's like. Different time of the year, different weather, different season entirely. Come to Keenvention. It's happening November 4th through the 6th. JJ was one of our keynote speakers at year number 1. You were the first year,
yeah,
right?
it was a good time.
And you really brought the house down with your keynote speech, one of my favorites of all time. You can see that video if you go to keenvention.info. In fact, every single speaker and panel that has ever happened at Keenvention, it's all online, so you can just go and watch anything that you want, and
nice.
they're all free to watch. So you can check out the previous years. This will be year number 4. It's happening November 4th through the 6th, which means that, yes, it is happening the weekend of the 5th of November.
Oh.
So you'll be able to spend the 5th of November in Keene with some of the best activists in the world who will also be in attendance, which also means that Hallow Keene is on the 5th of November this year. So that should be an extra fun How fun
convenient.
Edition. We already had 2 guys with V costumes at the last one, so I don't know how many of them we're going to have this year. You can go to keenvention.info. As I said, you can watch previous year's events, and you can, of course, lock your tickets in right now. They are back down in price to 2013 levels. So we've got a new venue this year. It's more affordable. So we're passing on the savings to you. We're actually moving to the same place where we ended up having the Hallow Keene costume dance party this year. The venue for the costume dance party was so great that we decided to just move the entire event there. And so now it'll all be happening in the same place, and it's going to be happening in the heart of downtown Keene this year. So a totally, new location. We're literally just not quite just a stone's throw away from the heart of downtown Keene, Central Square, where so many iconic activisms have happened over the years, many of which, JJ, you've been a part of, the 420 celebrations from back in the day. We're the new
nightcaps.
Yeah, the nightcaps. The new venue is literally right there, so right in the heart of downtown Keene, which means it'll be easier to explore downtown. When you break for lunch, you can just walk from the venue rather than have to get in your car.
Keene is very walkable.
Yeah, it really is. And so it'll be a different, kind of a different vibe, I think, because we're going to be having it downtown this year. Still, it's a limited location. It's very small compared to a lot of conventions, so limited tickets available. If you want to lock yours in, pre-sale tickets, there's only 100 of them available. So go and lock yours in at keenvention.info. If you want, you can save $5 by using code FTL. So code FTL, like Free Talk Live, saves you $5 on your pre-order tickets at keenvention.info. So you guys, you're both Randy Clemens, JJ, in the studio with me, Ian, tonight. You guys are both early movers for the Free State Project. But Kirsten Tynan from the Liberty.me blogs, she is actually the lady who's, I believe, the executive director of FIJA, the Fully Informed Jury Association, which is a great jury nullification group. She's based out of Montana. And she asked the question on her blog, do more libertarians mean more liberty? Counterintuitively, some data I've seen recently, she says, seems to suggest that the answer to the above question may be no. In recent days, I've had the chance to look a bit at 2 different pieces of Jason Soren's work, which I've not yet seen anyone else specifically connect to one another. If anyone has, I'd be interested to see their take on it. Jason Sorens, for those who are not familiar with the name, is the founder of the Free State Project, an organization based on the premise that herding a critical mass of liberty-minded people into a common geographic and political realm will lead to pro-liberty political change. In addition to being the founder of the Free State Project, Sorens is also a co-author of Freedom in the 50 States, as well as having put forth a statistical analysis of which states have the most libertarians. Freedom in the 50 States attempts to rank each of the states from most to least free, resulting in a handy graphic, which she then includes from the Mercatus Center's Freedom in the 50 States study from 2013, which shows you various different colors and which states are the freest. It shows you the top 5 being New Hampshire, I believe that's Tennessee, Oklahoma, and North and South Dakota. So she goes on to say that Sorens explains his method for trying to approximate the number of libertarians in each of the 50 states and provides the data that he came up with in a blog post. Reason had compiled a handy graphic which reflects the data, which shows that more libertarians seem to be centered in the western states and New Hampshire and Indiana as compared to the eastern states. An engineer by training and previous profession, I was thrilled to see some data by which we can do a sniff test of the hypothesis of the Free State Project experiment, namely that more libertarians means more liberty. Looking at the above data, though, that hypothesis seems somewhat questionable. Looking at the top 5 most free states, according to the 50 States Index, North Dakota and South Dakota are number 1 on the Freedom in the 50 States Index, but have only the 11th and 18th most libertarians per capita, respectively. Tennessee is number 3 on the Freedom in the 50 States Index, but only has the 26th most libertarians per capita. New Hampshire has the 2nd most libertarians per capita, but is falling on the Freedom Index, dropping from number 1 to number 4, as more self-described libertarians have moved there and gained office there. Oklahoma is number 5 on the most free state according to the index, but is at the back of the pack at number 47 for libertarians per capita. Looking at the 5 states with the most libertarians per capita, according to Sorens's analysis, Montana has the most libertarians per capita, but is number 12 and falling on the Freedom in the 50 States. New Hampshire has the 2nd most libertarians per capita, but is falling, as she mentioned previously. And the number 5 state for most libertarians, which is New Mexico, is a middling 21 on the Freedom in the 50 States Index. Only 3 of the top 5 on either list that seem comparable, and even North Dakota and Alaska are somewhat of a stretch. On the 2 lists are North Dakota, which is the number 1 most free, at number 11 in libertarians per capita. Alaska at number 3 most libertarians per capita and number 13 in the most free, and Idaho with number 5 most libertarians and number 6 most free. I think what she's trying to say here is that there is no consistency between these results, that states with the most libertarians per capita are not necessarily the most free of the states.
Well, you have to differentiate between libertarians per capita and like liberty activists. So someone can register to be a libertarian and not do anything. That doesn't mean you're going to get better results just because someone registered as a libertarian. And let's face it, in most of these states, the Libertarian Party doesn't win any elections. They don't hold any seats. They don't win anything. So you just being a libertarian doesn't mean anything in those states. I mean, it's great to connect to other libertarians and people who share your idea and mindsets and philosophy, but it's not. I mean, it's kind of she's extrapolating from this data, and she needs more data. I think she needs much more data, and it should look at different aspects. It should really look at activists and look at people who are actively working to change the world around them.
Well, I think the other part of it too is that talk can be really cheap. So the fact that to me this starts on faulty grounds, that like equating one vote to actual results doesn't actually happen. So no matter how many people are registered as libertarian, there's so many other forces at play as to what actually gets enacted for a law or for any, there's in these positions of power, these people that you vote for, there are people that vie for their attention much more than any individual possibly could. So even on an individual level where we're bringing up libertarian ideals, there's just other people that are lining their pockets. So while we believe that our votes are in fact powerful and that they actually do enact change, that's not the case. So pretending that these votes actually represent, enhancing or increasing liberties isn't always the case. There's way too many factors going on. So when you've got a company that's coming in, so in some of those states like Montana or North Dakota or South Dakota, where you've got huge energy interests but not a high population, you've got a huge potential for corruption there. I mean, there's a lot of money changing hands with not a lot of constituents, and very few people up at the top holding those puppet strings. So to look at these low population states and show that there's some correlation, I think is resting on faulty data. And what JG was getting to, so maybe our numbers aren't that great here, but the effect of what we're actually doing is much greater. So equating these things as if one, on a one-to-one level, I don't think is going to give you anything statistically accurate. And observing from the outside is pretty faulty. I mean, even observing from the inside, you're never going to be able to grasp the entire zeitgeist. But to try to to toss in your opinion from the outside, I think is kind of disingenuous.
The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE, and I ended up having a conversation with the lady who wrote this article, and she's pretty dug in deep in her position here, but we'll share a little bit more, and you can share your thoughts as well, because I agree with you, JJ. It's really about the libertarian activists, and good luck counting them. Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people, where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We got enough time for you if you want to join us now. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. The executive director, I believe she's the executive director of Fully Informed Jury Association, FIJA, which is, by the way, a great organization who does a lot of good work getting the word out about jury nullification, so kudos to them for that. She is unfortunately wrong about her article asking whether libertarians and the concentration of them somewhere means more liberty. She's looking at numbers. She's looking at the Freedom in the 50 States study by the Mercatus Center from 2013, which ranks the various 50 states by their relative freedom to one another, and then also a ranking of which states ostensibly have the most libertarians in them per capita. And she cannot find any consistency between them, is basically kind of the point of her blog post here. And JJ, as you pointed out, and I think correctly, what she's not looking at here is the libertarian activists.
Right.
Because you can have 100,000 libertarians, but if you only have 1,000 activists, then it's really only that 1,000 that makes a difference. Those are the ones that have the real impact, because the libertarians may not even be coming out to vote. So I'm not sure where the statistics are coming from as far as libertarians per capita, but libertarians just on their own aren't really worth very much. If the libertarian isn't doing anything to actually spread the ideas of liberty as an activist would, then, they're just a voter, and there's not really much you can get out of that. In New Hampshire, I don't think there's any doubt that we have the greatest amount of libertarian activists per capita than anywhere else. Now, I don't know how you would compare, because I don't know how you measure libertarian activists somewhere.
Right. Most of them aren't exactly public people, and so, in fact, a lot of the people who are anarchistic or voluntaristic or self-identify as such, they aren't the kind of people that are going to be easy to find and easily labeled in this election directory and with an L next to their name. You actually have to do some digging to find
They may not be on the radar at all.
Sure.
You can be an activist, but you don't have to be on the front lines.
You don't even have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be a part of any of this social media. You can still show up and do things excuse me, here in New Hampshire with a lot of ease. Not only a lot of ease, but with a lot of help too. With a lot of other people supporting you and going with you, whether it's handing out FIJA flyers outside a jury, sequestering or whatever they do with the juries, or actually going out. Yes, people are getting elected. The libertarians are getting in office, but guess what? They're getting in office as Republican and Democrats. So that right there flies in the face of her logic, her data right there, because they're not even registered as libertarians.
Well, and I think her data is pretty short-sighted too. It's not looking at the fact that the people who've moved here to New Hampshire, the people who are moving with intention. They are moving. It's part of the statement of intent to exert the fullest practical effort to creating a society who can finish it.
Where the government's maximum role is the protection of individuals' life, liberty, and property.
Yeah, that's pretty much the Free State Project statement of intent.
There it is. So, there's 20,000 people coming here not just to be registered libertarians or whatever, but to be active, to be activists, and to seize those opportunities. And what JJ was saying about going out to these activism opportunities, these events, is you have a crowd. It's not just you standing out there with a sign and hoping, to change a couple minds. It's a group of 50 people with 50 signs and 50 cameras, and we all know how to use them. And, at least one person in that group will know exactly how to deal with a law enforcement officer who wants to make a name for themselves and make some arrests that day. And they'll be the first ones right there with their cameras out, letting the officer know exactly how they're wrong. And, they're going to have a bad time. If the cops come and harass this group of 50 activists, they're going to have a bad time.
Whereas,
it's not going to be quiet.
In other states, if you're doing jury nullification outreach, you might get arrested.
Yeah, for a felony.
Right, Denver, Colorado, they arrested the people who've been doing activism there. Now they ended up dropping the charges, but again, that doesn't mean you won't get arrested just because they dropped the charges later. And so I actually brought up to her, because we had a conversation off of her blog post. She came into the Porcupines group on Facebook, and I kind of went back and forth with her, and I recognized I recognized her name. I was like, oh, well, thank you for what you've done with FIJA. It's great work. Jury nullification is really important work. And so I zeroed in on just that one area and kind of pointed out some of the things that make New Hampshire special from just that one area. So again, we've got 2,000 early mover kind of activists here for the Free State Project, and they're all doing different things. There's lots of different projects in play at one time. So I just narrowed down just to this one activism of jury nullification outreach. In New Hampshire, we have 6 or 7 out of the 10 counties completely covered with jury nullification outreach, meaning that every time there's a jury selection, there's a jury activist, someone who's got flyers, standing out of the front of the courthouse, handing out nullification details to everyone walking into the court that day. So we literally are covering all of the potential jurors in 6 or 7 out of 10 counties. So that's a tremendous amount. That's 70%, 60 to 70% of the jury trials that are happening, or the courts that are having trials, are being covered with that information. I brought that up to her and mentioned to her that, like, of the times when we do this, it's like 90% of the people that walk by will take it. So almost everyone that walks in the door accepts these flyers. We have tremendous level of penetration of this information here in New Hampshire. Her response was, well, yeah, it's great if you're handing a bunch of flyers out, but where are the results? How do you show when you actually have these juries nullifying? And you can't really easily do that, right? Because when a jury comes back with a not guilty verdict, first of all, unless you're tracking every single case that goes to court and paying attention to which way one case goes versus another, which we're not doing. I don't know of anyone who's taken the time to go into the court each month, learn which cases they're calling for jurors, follow up on each of those cases after they're finished, and find out what the verdicts were. But even if you were to do all of that, you still wouldn't know if it was jury nullification, right? Because you didn't attend the trial, so you don't know what all the details are of the trial, what the case was, what were they arguing. And further, even if you did know what the verdict was, you still couldn't extrapolate from that why the jury chose that verdict.
Right. You actually have to go and interview the jury afterwards and find that one juror or multiple jurors that nullified, and then have them state it. Like, why did you vote this way? Why you voted for nullification? It's
next to impossible to find this out. I mean, it's not impossible, because like one time, the Doug Darrell case, we did actually have like a true full-on jury nullification. But the reason why we found out about it was because the lady who was on the jury, who ended up flipping the entire jury to not guilty, was a Free Stater. So a Free State Project participant got on that jury and managed to flip it and nullified the entire verdict in the case of Doug Darrell, who was growing marijuana and was set free from growing marijuana because of jury nullification. So it was the best possible case of jury nullification. Nonviolent crime, peaceful person, growing marijuana, set free, 12-0, not guilty. But we only knew because Kathleen Converse happened to be one of the people on the jury. If she hadn't been on that jury, it would have just been a really great news. It would have been great news that the jury set him free. We could have presumed that the jury had nullified in that particular case because, odds are good they probably raided his house and caught him red-handed growing the plants. So you could maybe extrapolate and jump to a conclusion on certain cases, like if they were a marijuana case. Maybe you could say that odds are good it was jury nullification. But actually getting that data would be relatively difficult to do. And so this comes back to what you were saying, I think, off the air, Randy, was that, this lady's looking at her books. She's looking at data, and she doesn't actually have the experience of actually being here in New Hampshire and knowing all of the things that are happening here that are building towards more libertarian success in the future.
Well, yeah, and I went to jury nullification outreach. I'd never heard of this before I moved here. I'd never heard of jury nullification, and it's inspiring enough for me to want to write about it on my blog. So
excellent.
This is me, one person, learning about this, but now maybe I've shared with several hundred thousand, whatever number of people. So that doesn't take that into account, and but that's the kind of activism we want to encourage here. Is spreading the message. So in court cases now, it can be mentioned that juries can nullify, but this is the same information that, as you said, in other states people are getting arrested for. And so in one case, I know there was a former pastor that got arrested for handing out pamphlets of information. So take into consideration what you perceive to be freedom of speech.
The person who was arrested was not in New Hampshire.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Let's specify that. But this is something that someone is getting arrested for and could be charged with a felony for, which besides the jail time, you're then marked for life. So I mean, think about these ramifications that the state wants to put on somebody for just disseminating information freely. Not freely in this case, but you could be marked as a felon for the rest of your life. Try getting any sort of professional licensure, permission from the state to do your job, or any kind of other job, any kind of bank loan. You've got a felony on your record.
Or just defending yourself, being able to protect your person.
Yeah, I mean, all these rights and liberties get thrown out the window because you were handing out information to people about their rights as a juror to be able to not convict a member of their society for a victimless crime. They're putting the law up for trial as well as the person. So I think more libertarians absolutely means more liberty. The more people we can get on those juries, the more cases can get overturned.
And more libertarian activists certainly does mean that, and that's what we're gathering here. And if it's not obvious enough to you yet, just give us more time. We got thousands more coming, and it will become painfully obvious that you are not in the most free place if you're not in New Hampshire. Guys, thanks for coming in here. Randy Clemens and JJ from FSPmovers.com. Brand new website. Go check it out. We'll see you tomorrow. freetalklive.com.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Wednesday, gold is $22 higher at $1,250 per ounce. Silver is 25 cents higher at $15.60 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $421 US. Silver and gold are advancing as the stock market drops triple digits. Want to diversify away from paper assets? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, February 24th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.38 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,241 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $424. Antiwar.com reports, speaking to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on Tuesday, Secretary of State John Kerry suggested the latest push for a ceasefire in Syria could amount to the last chance for one, and suggested that the U.S. would see a partition of the country as Plan B. Kerry did not offer any details on how this would work, of course, but the fact that the U.S. is mentioning partition at all is a huge step, as the U.S.